Hi, I'm Adam and I'm here to talk to you about why you should ride a motorcycle. I personally just started riding about a month ago, and I really feel that everybody who is on the road and has a license should have the opportunity to try and do this. Uh, Recently I bought a Suzuki SV650 for about $2,700, and if I was a racer, I'd be able to take it from 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. If I had to do that with a regular car, I'd have to own a Lamborghini, and I'd have to spend about $300,000 to do it. And this is just one of many reasons as to why I think people should own motorcycles. Before I go on to anything else, though, I would just like to have a little bit of disclaimer. I'm not going to stand here and say that motorcycles are safer than cars. They're certainly not. However, they are faster, much more maneuverable, and cheaper. Which makes it a lot easier to get out of an accident situation rather than more likely to be in an accident situation, but be safer during the accident like you would in a car. For the most part, there's a lot of factors that affect what causes an accident with a motorcycle, and many of them are the same thing as with a car. You have alcohol, you have illegal maneuvers, and you have various distractions. Alcohol and drug abuse affect you on a bike the same way they affect you in a car. They slow down your reaction timing, and they make you make more mistakes. Illegal maneuvers is another reason why motorcycles have accidents, and for motorcycles there are a couple of unique maneuvers that you wouldn't be able to do in a car. One such thing is lane splitting, which is riding right up the dashed white line in between cars, especially during traffic or rush hour. A lot of motorcycles like to do this, and while it is legal in California, it is illegal in the other 49 states. The other thing you can talk about is distractions with a motorcycle. Some people like to use GPS or listen to music during riding, and personally I feel that that's just more of a distraction and causes you to get in more of a crash. There are a couple of little statistics I want to talk about. Cars, of all the cars that are out on the road right now, or at least in 2015 when this study was done, of all those cars, 1.7% of them would get in an accident where they were hurt, and 0.1% of them will get in an accident where somebody was killed. For bikes, the number is actually a little bit lower for those who are hurt. Only 1% of people on the road riding motorcycles are hurt. However, 0.6% of them are killed. This illustrates a really important point about motorcycles. Much like a plane, how you could either ride on it, be perfectly fine, or you could ride on it, the plane could crash, and you could die. Motorcycles are sort of an on and off type of deal. Usually, most people do not get as hurt on it because, like I said, they're faster, they're easier to maneuver in and out of traffic, and you can get yourself out of situations. However, if you do crash, it is much more severe, and the injury and damages are going to be much higher. With that said, though, this picture really explains it best. There's no distractions with a motorcycle. Motorcycles, for the most part, about 99% of the time, are manual transmissions. You have a clutch and you have a gear shift lever, as well as brakes and throttle. And both your hands and both your feet are preoccupied while doing this. Also, there isn't air conditioning, there isn't a radio, there isn't anything to distract you. With this picture here, you get a tachometer, a speedometer, and that's it. Everything else you can do by feel, and it really is nice that you don't have to be distracted by anything. Like you say, some people do use GPS or music, but the absolute minimum that it takes to ride a motorcycle, it forces you to be much more engaged than you would in a car, especially nowadays where cars have lots of safety features and blind spot monitoring and things like that. A motorcycle forces you to be more in tune with the environment around you and what other people are doing. Another reason why people, or besides making you a better driver, another reason I like to bring up with people as to why they should buy a motorcycle is because it's so cheap to do so. For a brand new motorcycle, or let's say a brand new car, if you wanted to buy one, the cheapest car you could buy is a Nissan Versa, which is about 12 grand brand new, depending on the dealer. It's a slow car, it doesn't brake very well, and it doesn't handle very well. Now, if you get into an accident in a Versa, you very well may not die, and you probably won't sustain nearly as much injury as if you had a motorcycle. However, for the same $12,000, you can buy a Honda CBR 600, which is a super sport crotch rocket, as many people would call it. And I argue that it is much easier to get out of a crash situation or a close call on a Honda CBR 600 than it would be in a Nissan Versa. Because of that, I feel that it'd be much easier to avoid a crash. The insurance is also a lot cheaper. For a brand new Nissan Versa, you'd be paying thousands of dollars a year to get it covered. For me, with my insurance, I only had to pay $488 a year on my motorcycle in order to get covered and be on the road legally in Virginia. Along with that, there's also bikes are much more fuel efficient. With hybrid technology and electric cars and everything, there's a lot of ways to get a higher MPG rating out of a car. However, the easiest way of doing that would just to be get a motorcycle. My motorcycle, it's a 2002, it's not a very high-tech engine, and there really isn't much going on with it from an engineering perspective. Yet still, just puttering around town, I get about 45 miles a gallon. Being on the highway, I could get up to 55 or even 60 miles a gallon. And it uses just regular old 87 octane. Beyond that, bikes are just plain old cheaper. They're cheaper to buy, they're cheaper to insure, they're cheaper to maintain. Motorcycle tires are very, very cheap. To get brand new motorcycle tires and to mount them and balance them might be $250, but for a car, you're spending $500, $600, $700, $800, $1,000 very, very easily to do so. And if I haven't already driven the point home enough, they're just so fun to be able to ride around on. Like I said, my bike, so for many people would consider it a slower bike or a mid-speed bike, goes 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. Like I said, I need a Lamborghini in order to do the same thing in a car. The brakes are extremely strong. And if you use too much front brake, you can lift the rear tire very, very easy, or is what people call a stoppie. And the handling is absolutely insane. It's something that is it's very disorienting when you first start to realize it, and leaning on a bike and understanding that, no, the bike won't skid out from under you. Even though most of it's on the side, you can lean over at immense angles and still be able to get through a corner. In MotoGP, which is a racing class, you can see with this picture, the guy's leaned over all the way, and he's even what they call a knee dragger. And it's just that, he wears knee pads, and he can literally lay half of his body down with the side of the bike. Some of the lean angles in MotoGP get to about 67, 68, almost 70 degrees of lean angle. And they can still come up. If you look at the picture, they're almost sideways. You know, you kind of start to wonder how the tire is even holding on, but it does. Beyond that, something I've learned is a lot of personal responsibility too with the motorcycle, and this might not be for everybody, but for me it was. This was my first adult purchase that I had to title a bike, I had to insure it, I had to talk to an insurance agent about what sort of coverage I would need, I had to go to the DMV, get all my paperwork in order, and as a result of that, I now own a motorcycle that, as far as anybody is concerned, is legally mine. The title's in my name. And so that's something I've really been able to, I've really matured in being able to actually do. And it's something that I've grown as a person. All in all, owning a motorcycle is an amazing thing. And while I don't think that everybody should sell all their cars and buy motorcycles, I think everybody should ride one and have the chance to ride one for at least a little while. Because it makes you a better driver, and you have a lot of fun doing it. Thank you.